Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tea Time, the podcast. And I just want to thank you for joining me on today's episode. This is a very special episode where it's a special edition as we unpack 2024. And to unpack, I have invited my good friend, colleague, to join me to have a conversation around business and 2024. Like, let's get it off our chest.
And life, right?
Yeah, life. Yes, definitely life as well, because life is a part of business. All right. We're going to talk about some of the highs, the lows, the key lessons, and hopefully what you get out of this episode is an opportunity to put down anything that you're carrying, allow you to reflect, and reflect for your own self as you head into 2025. All right. So I just want to invite Avalon. Thank you for joining me today and saying yes.
Of course,
I definitely appreciate having you here to, do this episode with me because I wanted to keep it conversational, right? So, how are you feeling?
Today, are we talking about 2024 overall? Because I feel like
all of it.
I feel good. I feel thankful, grateful, and blessed. But I also feel like, where did some of the pressure come from, in 2024? So for the most part, I feel good, but I think I'm ready for a new.
Right. I hear that. We're ready to kind of leave 24 and 2024. Everything that happened, as they say, what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happened in 2024, we're leaving it there and we're moving forward.
Correct. Correct.
All right. So, Avalon, what was your biggest achievement for business this year?
I think one of my biggest achievements was really being able to add proper structure and systems that actually worked within my business. I've been trying for a while to just, I'm going to use your word here, streamline. It's coming. I was trying for a while to streamline certain things, and I feel like I was overthinking it so much. But this year, I just really put certain things in place where now it took a lot of pressure off of me being involved in all the day-to-day of the business. So I feel like that's one of the biggest achievements because, of course, with proper systems and structure came, more time to spend on building the back end. It came with more time to actually, serve clients, came with more time to even spend resting, which was something that I took for granted. I never rested, I was going. But so I would say, definitely that was one of my biggest accomplishments.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because I think as business owners, we underestimate the importance of systems. Systems is one of those things that once you have them and they're working properly, it does a lot for you as a business owner. It really makes your business a business.
Definitely.
Because a lot of the times, for example, many business owners might not have systems and they feel chained to their phones. They feel chained to having to do everything themselves. They're unable to delegate certain tasks because you need to have those systems in place. I mean, the boring jargon is SOPs, which is, those operating procedures to how is this going to flow when I'm not there? We can't always be there. So we need to have a system that no matter who comes in to execute the task, that quality control is like top of the line.
It doesn't dip on, just as you said, the quality. And that really opened my eye like in August when I had to travel and I had 2 client jobs here. And my team was able to execute as if I was there in person. And that's something that I never imagined. I was very, very, very proud of. Proud of the team, proud of, just what we built.
So with implementing systems, what were some surprising challenges or even rewards that came out of implementing that milestone or reaching that milestone, I should say?
I think people management will always be a challenge. And we laugh because we talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah.
Even with systems, because people are part of the system sometimes.
True.
The system is not always.
And it's that unpredictable part of it. You can't control people.
You can't control
You don't know what's going to happen.
So I would say one of the challenges was definitely the people management aspect of it. One of the plus to it was the fact that I could literally now take 2 jobs any day. And I could also travel and not compromise work that I have anywhere else.
What I love about having systems in place, especially as well, I would say the reward is being able to delegate, is that it frees up your space to think about the big picture vision of the business. It allows you to steer the ship and be the visionary. Now you could focus on the marketing, the negotiation.
Correct.
Yeah.
While everybody else
that's
focus
what
on the
a
other
CEO
thing.
is really supposed to be focused on and what they should be doing.
Yeah, I
Steering
agree.
that ship. Let us get into the glamorous side of being an entrepreneur. People think this is glamorous.
There's a glamorous side.
Well, no, we're here to burst that myth. You know, as we talk about the challenges, what do you want to share in terms of bursting that myth? What is really required to build a successful business?
In entrepreneurship, I feel like it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. Just recently, somebody was telling me, you make such a great, marketing and comms manager. She was like, but I definitely know you're not giving up entrepreneurship. And I was like, no.
I know that too.
Yeah.
As rough as it gets, we can't step back from it.
Like the freedom. I think that's what we work so hard for.
That freedom.
The freedom.
The freedom, the autonomy.
Yes. So, but I feel like people think that when they watch some entrepreneurs out there, or they watch some business owners, they think it's so easy because we make it look, just as you say, glamorous, and we make it look easy. So they don't see like these sleepless nights. They don't see the
times you can't shut off your brain.
I can't sleep because this hamster is on the wheel.
You're remembering, did I respond to that email? Did I send that message? What happened then? You find yourself flying off the bed. 12 o'clock in the morning.
Listen, one day I was I remember I had a full day of in-person meetings. And while I was on my third meeting, I was like, wait, did I turn off the pipe? I was like, what if the kitchen flood out?
Oh my goodness.
And that was on my mind the whole time. I did turn off the pipe, of course.
Right.
But this is all part of...
Because sometimes we're moving so quickly. We're moving so fast.
If we move slow, then we miss out, right? And that's part of entrepreneurship.
That is part of it.
So entrepreneurship is really just about the constant going. I don't feel like, even when we're resting...
We're not really shut off. No, we're not shut off. You can't shut off the same way you would in a 9-to-5 job. Once you clock out, that's it. Whatever happens, whether the business that you work for burns down, that's not on your mind. That's for the business owner to think about. You know that I did what I was supposed to do. I clocked out at 5. I'll see you all tomorrow. And we don't get to do that.
That's another thing. I feel like everybody gets to say, well, I just doing this because it's my job. But the actual CEO or business owner, we don't get to say that. And some people wouldn't get why we're also so passionate about that. Why we're particular with how things are communicated, why we're particular with how we show up, with what's posted or not posted, with how we show up in a business sense.
Yeah.
Because this is our bread and butter. This is our night and day.
Bread and butter, and it's also our reputation. Exactly. It's on us. When something goes wrong, people are going to look to us.
Yeah. They're not going and say, well, is the system you put in place? They're not going and say, well...
And there's no grace. There's no grace. There's no grace.
There's none. But we have to give grace, though.
We have to give ourselves that grace.
Yeah.
It's true, indeed. Yeah. What's something you learned from your clients this year that helped shape your business? How has this insight changed how you approach client relationships? I know that one is...
What's something that I learned from my clients this year?
Yeah.
I don't want to group them all together. And is it something good or something bad? It could be anyone.
It's just a lesson.
A lesson.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be good or bad, but just something that allowed you to improve. It could even be a personal takeaway.
Yeah, so I think I'll go there. I lean towards a personal takeaway more. Something I learned from I would say one particular client this year is to really get strong on boundaries. To really,
I know
really,
that was
really,
coming. I
yeah,
know that was coming.
like to really get strong on boundaries because, again, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, a small business owner, this is our bread and butter. We love to serve.
We love to
We
serve.
love to
We
serve.
want to go above and
We
beyond.
will go above and beyond.
Sometimes to a point where it crosses a fine line of people pleasing.
It does. It does.
You
And
know?
I am a recovering
Like,
people
what is the
pleaser.
difference between going above and beyond and people pleasing? That's a really tough thing to have to be able to decipher, client to client, project to project on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Is this enough?
Yeah.
You have to know when enough is enough.
We have to, like, that was my biggest lesson. Like, you have to know when enough is enough. I'm the person, if I'm hired for ABC and I realize, okay, but what happened to DEF?
And even though it's
isn't
not
being
in your
done,
scope of
and it's
work,
not in my scope, but DEF needs to happen for this entire
thing
project
to be
to be
successful.
successful. I will find myself doing DEF. And honestly, I think the biggest lesson I learned in that is I really need to mind my business sometimes.
I love that. I love how you put that so eloquently.
Yeah, like I
have to
need
mind my business.
I just need to mind my business sometimes. You got paid for ABC.
Honestly, that brings me to another thing I wanted to touch on, which is actually what I learned as well, right? Coming into 2024, I had a particular vision and I wanted to grow more in a particular role. And I find myself doing more and more and more, but it just was not being appreciated. And that's when I had to learn, like, that's my lesson in 2024 is you really have to know when to mind your business.
Because
right?
not minding your business, they don't
You
appreciate
find
all the time.
yourself stressing over things that they didn't ask you to stress about. I had to check myself and wonder, well, why it is I am losing sleep over this? Why am I feeling depleted? I am doing too much out of my scope. And that's when I had to learn to pull back.
Yeah. Mind your business. So I think I just want to mind my business going forward and continue to serve with excellence within my scope.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not to say that we won't still go above and beyond, but within reason.
But within
reason,
definitely.
So I realized that boundaries is something that we struggle with a lot.
Yeah.
You know, not just you and I, but business owners in general. Like, it's been a very much a trending topic. Even on my way here, I was asking the makeup artist, you know, what are you struggling with? What are topics that resonate with you? And she says, it's those boundaries. It's those boundaries because sometimes people just don't understand certain things that happen in business.
Let me just touch on something there, Cassia, because you know what always blows my mind? Somebody would attempt to break our boundary, right? But stand on their own or try to stand on their own. So they would, let's say, they would message us at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Right? But if we message them at 6 a.m., we wouldn't get a response. But if they message us at 6 a.m. and don't get a response, they would take it as, you know, we're not responsive. And I never get that.
That's actually, she was talking about the responsiveness of messages or inquiries. And we live in, well, that will bring me to the other topic of social media, but we'll get to that. But we live in a world now where we're so accessible, right? I could access you on Instagram, email, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, so people might be like, oh, well, I see you posting here. So you available?
Yeah. Imagine we have to hide. I never understood why we have to actually feel as if, oh gosh, I can't post on my Instagram right now because I didn't respond to this WhatsApp.
So all these things we have to be calculating and carrying this burden.
It's two different things and it should be separated. So it should be separated, like it should be separated.
That I have that. We'll come to that where it's like this is also the gift. There's a gift and a curse to having a personal brand.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't separate yourself from the business brand. And it has its benefits, but it also sometimes we would like to be anonymous.
Please.
We would like to be
We would like a little piece. A little peace, please.
We want to just be humans and exist sometimes, but hey, this is the life we
just-
signed up for.
I want to post something funny on my WhatsApp story without having to think about the fact that I didn't reply to your message yet. And without you taking it as something personal and I'm ignoring you.
Yeah, because I mean, granted, we are the founders of our businesses. We're the owners. We create this thing, but we're also entitled to shut off.
Yeah.
You know, if you see me post something at 8 o'clock, well, I done work for the day. I think I should have that.
Yeah.
I think I should have family time.
And not have to explain it. Like I shouldn't have to
explain
I shouldn't have to say, well, my humblest I feel that's an issue with entrepreneurs too. We feel like we always have to apologize for our boundaries. Sorry, but I stopped work at 6. My apologies. I was already, shut off for the day.
It should go without saying.
Yeah, it should go without saying. Could we just drop the sorry?
This reminds me of a funny story I had when I was now getting into entrepreneurship back in 2016. And at the time, I used to do wedding invitations. I was one of the services. And I remember finally being able to wrap up my day. And as my head hit the pillow at 11 p.m. at night, I got a message. Look at the phone. I was like, all right, I'll answer in the morning. Rest on the phone. Bzz, bzz. Hello, are you there? I will never forget that moment. Just as my head hit the pillow, 11 p.m. That was a day I would never forget. That day I remember feeling the level of tiredness. I was like, finally. Nope, not finally. Well, it was finally because as soon as they asked, hello, are you there? Push the phone under the pillow, and I was like, nah, you can't be serious.
Oh, but that's some good strength.
And this was not even someone who was an existing client. This was a first-time person reaching out.
But that's some good strength on your part, especially if you're now starting off entrepreneurship. Because when I was starting off,
it's true.
I would turn and answer that because
I was this close, but the hello, are you there?
Oh, that's such a nerve.
That was like, no, it's 11 p.m. How you ask me if I'm there?
I'm there, but I'm just not here. No.
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about the challenges and maintaining boundaries. Like what is one of your biggest challenges you feel when it comes to sticking to those boundaries? Because it definitely is a challenge, I consider us seasoned entrepreneurs. And the fact that we're talking about this now, it's an ongoing challenge. We will master it some days, but yeah.
Yeah. There's always that guilt still, of feeling as if we're not attending to a client or not serving the way that we ought to serve. Personal guilt,
True.
that we would work through, I guess.
Actually, when it comes to boundaries in general, there's always guilt in enforcing that.
Some guilt in enforcing it, and also just getting others to understand. But I remember one of my mentors told me sometime, like, is it really your job though to get them to understand your boundaries?
That's true.
And that's
just a good question.
Yeah. Listen, she asked me that and I couldn't answer because it was like, true.
Our job is really to implement the boundary, not manage how they receive it.
Not manage how they receive it. And that came with the systems also. So the systems made it easier. So I started to filter more things strictly to the business. Like if it's a client relationship, there's no need for us to be on personal WhatsApp. Like even if you message me a business question on WhatsApp, I respond via email.
That's why I love systems, because systems support you in maintaining boundaries.
Those simple automated messages, like if you message me now before 8, my WhatsApp will tell you, listen, we're not here
this
right
hour
now.
to this hour.
Yeah, and from this hour to this hour, public holidays. Of course, when we're
working
your
email project, signature.
And then the email signature says.
That's another nice place to implement some of your boundaries.
But do people actually read email signatures?
I think they might notice it subconsciously. It's there.
Yeah.
So that moment where they feel like they didn't get a response right away, they will notice. If they don't notice, well, it's there.
Most importantly, it's there. And I just hope going forward, 2025 and beyond, people understand to just...
So now it's no longer in your responsibility that, oh, well, did you communicate? Yeah, I did.
I
It's
did
in
multiple times.
it's in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my next question is, so what difference did setting boundaries make for your mental well-being? You know, I love to talk about mental health
Listen.
because if it is, you end up in the hospital, you, me, whoever, the business can't keep going. It will go to a point, but at the end of the day, the business suffers if we are suffering. If we don't have our health at the end of the day, like that's just something that I always innately felt or believed, that I can't go to my job if I'm not well.
If listen, I feel like no,
You all right?
yes. I laughing so much because I feel like God is a funny God, right? And at the beginning, you said we unpacking. We
Yeah.
unpacking 2024. And now you just asked this question and you specifically spoke about what if we ended up in the hospital with
Yeah.
as it aligns with boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And listen, similar happened to me this year. And that is what made me really say, no, I have to be like stricter with enforcing boundaries. Because I remember, like, for my father died. I
Right.
worked
Yes.
on the day my father died. But of course, because I want to stick to my commitment, that's the
Yes.
person I am, right? But of course, with life and everything, my body started to just feel kind of worn out. I remember I was feeling like dizzy for 3 days straight. And on the 4th day, I actually ended up having to be rushed to the clinic, blood test, everything, you know? And I communicated this. No, one of my clients messaged on a Saturday because I rushed myself to the clinic on a Friday, right?
Right. Yeah.
And on a Saturday, the client wanted to know something. And I said, well, you know, hey, we'll definitely respond on Monday. And I explained that, you know, not too long came out of, like, you know, the clinic, blood test. I just need to rest. And I was literally told that my personal,
Oh,
my whatever is happening in my personal life should not affect my professional commitments. And I was so grateful to that client for saying that.
yeah, 'cause that was a wake-up call.
That was a wake-up call. And it was also an opportunity for me to remind the client that I agree. And this is why even on the day my father passed, I showed up. However, today is Saturday. Today is Saturday. And
This is my time.
this is my time.
Yep.
On the onboarding call, in my email signature, in every communication, we are aware it's Monday to Friday between the hours of this
Yes,
to
it
this. So today is Saturday. So
Yeah.
while I agree, I do hope that, you know, that this personal
And
and
this
this
is where they're above and
professional.
beyond the, you know?
Yeah. So I was like, that is crazy that people actually treat other people like this
Like
way.
this.
That was crazy, and that was a big eye opener for me, because I will be so like concerned. I would be, you know, well, no problem.
Not
Sure, check
even
in with
some well
Monday.
wishes. Take some rest.
Sure,
Get to
check
me
back
as
in
soon
on
as you can.
Monday.
You know, because it wasn't an
It
emergency.
wasn't an emergency. Life of a business owner.
No, that one deserved a little moment of
A
silence.
silence, yeah.
Especially when we are in a marketing space, it sometimes feels like everything is urgent.
Yeah.
Everything is urgent. But sometimes it isn't.
Sometimes it isn't.
Sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's poor planning.
Yeah. Which takes me to a quote that you would have posted, something you would have posted. It could be 2 years
Basically,
ago.
poor lack of planning on your part does not constitute
An
an
emergency on my
mine.
part. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite quotes ever.
That needs to go on a plaque somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so reeling it back into the topic of, you know, personal lessons, and of course personal ties in with business, but you notice a lot of entrepreneurs pivoting, some pivoting to the point of closing their businesses.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that for a bit. Why do you think so many business owners are closing their businesses and pivoting to something else? Because a majority of them, I don't really see that they are going back to like a day job. But I feel like for me personally, a lot of them are pivoting or closing a business in order to start something fresh, something new that isn't tied to their personal brand. So I feel like now is a good time to set the record straight on how we feel about personal branding versus business branding. Because I feel like you go on LinkedIn and everything is personal branding, this personal branding, personal branding, personal branding. And somewhere over the past couple of years, the value in having a business brand that is something separate to you, something that is not tied to your face and your identity, has seemingly kind of lost some of its, I wouldn't say it lost its value, but it's lost its importance. And it's more trendy to build a personal brand because everybody said to build your personal brand. I know I did, right? And it has its benefits. But I think that is also part of why we are struggling with boundaries, why we might be struggling with feeling sometimes unappreciated and just feeling burnt out overall.
Overall, yeah. So to unpack the first part, I feel like a percentage is because they're pivoting to build something that doesn't align with their personal brand. But I feel more so is a lot of people just realizing that it's okay to change. Like it's okay to change. It's okay to try
They know
something
it's
new.
okay. Well, no, the people who pivot in know it's
People-
okay to
yeah,
change. Yeah,
the
yeah,
people
yeah.
who pivot in, like they just realize, like I could do something different. Like I don't have to necessarily be tied to the same thing forever the rest of my life, and they want to try new things because, like as I said, 2024 especially,
Yeah.
life lifed in 2024.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of people just saying like, you know what, I always wanted to do this and
This thing.
I am going to take the opportunity
It's
to
time
just
for me to realize this dream.
try it. And of course, as we said before, in entrepreneurship and business, there's always struggles. It's not all red bottoms and and lips
Yeah.
and well done makeup and well dressed all the time.
Yeah.
It is a struggle. And I feel like some people just decide like, I don't want to struggle. I'm not about the struggle life anymore. I even saw one creator said like, I only want to be responsible for myself.
Yeah.
I do not want to be responsible for
It is a huge
anybody
responsibility.
else.
It's all well and good to like talk about building a team, but we don't really get to see how much of a mental toll it can take being responsible for all these people.
For other people. And she said that's why she closed her business, because she literally just wanted to be responsible for herself. And she also realized that she want to do something else, something more fun, something,
Yeah.
On the topic of personal branding, I'm a personal branding advocate.
Yeah.
I feel like personal branding really paved the way for me and for
Yes.
my brand and for my business and for everything aligned to Avalon Gomez. So I will never knock it.
Of course, yeah.
But I see where there's a need for us to try to separate our personal brand
separate
from
it,
business
yes.
sometimes.
It's not saying don't have one.
Yeah, it's not
but we
saying don't have
to
one.
Separate it. And I think there's also some lost opportunity or missed opportunities by not building a brand that is separate to your personal brand.
Yeah.
You have to nurture that as much. You have to nurture your business brand, aka your corporate brand, just as much as your personal brand, so that it could stand on its own.
On its own, yeah, and it will also help with your boundaries, because you could
Right.
say if you're an agency owner, let's say, you have a company, a management company, a LLC, etc. Persons might be always accustomed to messaging you, but
Yeah.
it will be so refreshing to say like, hey, just email the company, or
Email
somebody
the company,
will respond.
message the page.
Yeah, somebody will respond. Somebody, not
Somebody.
me. I never
Said it was me.
I never said it was me. It could be me. We never know. But what
never
I'm
know.
saying is we need
that separation.
We need that separation, and to get persons in the habit of the fact that, okay, this is the entity responsible for whatever business we are going to do, right? If you hire me for a speaking engagement or a workshop, yes, I am the entity. So that might be me in my personal
A
brand
brand,
capacity. But when we're doing work,
executing services or purchasing product, if it's a product-based
it's
business,
definitely
that's
under
the
the business. It's definitely under the business. And now faceless marketing is a whole big thing, which showed us that we don't really need to always be in front of the camera.
You don't need to be in front of the camera. And what I took away from faceless marketing, it wasn't anything new. Faceless marketing was just building a business brand.
It
was basically building a brand that had nothing to do with your personal brand. It had nothing to do with your face.
With your face. It had nothing to do with your voice, you know?
Yeah. What core values became more important to you this year in your brand?
Definitely my empathy. My empathy, my persistence, my just natural giving and patient way. I feel like that really became like a focus, and it showed why or what differentiates me from a lot of other persons or from a lot of other business owners. I feel like I really care. Sometimes I have to like, you care.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, especially when you operate in your spaces and you see other people don't take that level of care. That's it. They pack up and they're gone. And that's it. They've moved on. So I understand what you mean when you touch on that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good quality to have, it to care. I receive similar comments where when I ask persons why they work with me or why they would recommend other persons to work with me, they would say things along the lines of, when I'm working with Cassia, I feel like she genuinely actually cares. It's not just about the service.
It's not, yeah.
Like, okay, well, you got a website, but it's beyond the website, is the level of care and attention and the conversations that we have. And when I get feedback like that, listen, let me tell you all, when you give a business owner that kind of feedback, I don't think you all understand the depths of how much you make their day, their week, their month, and the whole year. So like moments like now at the end of the year, we could look back and reflect
on
and
that.
feel good about the impact that we're making, whether it's in our community, with our clients, our customers, whatever. Just the way that you conduct yourself, it's always like this guidance like that. You know what? I feel satisfied in who I am and how I show up in the world.
In the world, yeah. And I feel like it's important too for clients, customers, etc., to please like give the good reviews or give the reviews to your service providers, because I feel like when somebody is displeased, then we hear it. They don't hesitate, right, to say it. But then when you're pleased, it's just like, thank you, and you're going about your day. No, please
leave the reviews.
Yeah, please fill my head.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You know, we appreciate it because
it helps us and our business to grow and to flourish. So like, we are happy that you are letting us know the impact. Like, feedback is great, but you know, we want the reviews too.
And you're a lot like me, Cassia, because when we're part of a project, it actually becomes one of our goals. Like I always tell my clients, you come to meet a project, this is now on my goal list. Like, it's my goal now to make this project successful, to make sure it's, executed to the highest form of excellence.
It is a two-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword, where that's good. But I think another one of my lessons this year was, again, how you said, to mind my business, because we have to have internal boundaries. It's not just the external. Correct. We have to know when to detach, because sometimes we take on a project, and once that project is on us, we get so engrossed in its success. So it's like, this is your business, but we acting like it's our business too, which is good, but we have to know when to internally detach from it,
a little bit,
because sometimes we get a little too passionate. We see the business owner making certain decisions, it's like,
I know, right?
We should not be upset.
Yeah, like,
we really shouldn't be upset.
Like, did I tell you to do that? I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not empathy, and we have to have boundaries and empathy as well. So this is for any, other business owner that you feel so tied to the project. It's good, kudos, but it's okay to let the client do what they need to do
To
and
do it.
realize their vision.
It's not fully your responsibility. It's not
Yeah.
fully your responsibility.
I also noticed, like in the past, I would even have grief when the project come into end. It's like, wow,
No.
you know,
No,
you don't have
you
that.
think no, I don't
I
have
have
that.
some grief because it's now I have to step back and like, oh wow, that's my work, but this is not my business. So that's for me when I'm building a brand and I design something. It's like, oh wow, but it's not mine.
But you get to see it all the
I
time.
think as creatives, it's a little bit different when we create something. It came from here, it came from an emotion. And I don't think some business owners, or I mean, not just some, in general, that you don't realize how much we just get attached to the thing that we created for you.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a lesson. And I want to be clear, like this is not like shade to clients or shade to business owners.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm just sharing my lesson where I had to learn to be able to be like, we've come to the end, and now I need to move on to other projects.
To other projects.
Mentally, emotionally. That's something I had to learn how to do.
Yeah.
Once they are happy, that's what matters in the end.
Yeah. And if you're happy, leave the review.
Yes, leave the review. So we're gonna touch on my favorite topic, social media.
Oh Lord.
Social media, Avalon.
Yeah.
Social media is shifting and it's changing rapidly.
Oh Lord.
That I don't think sometimes our bodies can really keep up with how fast it's shifting and it's changing. And one thing I know for sure, what's taking a toll on our mental health as business owners and as human beings is this content machine, right? We constantly have to keep up with content. We constantly, it's either the algorithm or we like carousels now on Instagram. We like reels now on Instagram. We should do this. The video should be 7 seconds.
Make sure we'll have a hook.
It have a hook.
What font you using? Position the font on the left for this impact.
You have to have
Position
this
font in the
hashtag.
middle.
Don't write the captions too long. I was like, oh my God, I have a business to run.
My solution was I work in real life. So since you come up with so much rules, how about I just pause?
How about I just rebel?
Yeah.
As you said, essentially, we rebelling.
That's
We
what it
decide,
is.
well, you know what? I'm opting out of this.
Yeah. Yep. Social media is a lot, and there's so much platforms. Like we have to make sure TikTok is in this way, then Instagram is this way, Facebook is for this, and then we have LinkedIn that come and just. And to me, is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I deleted my LinkedIn profile. I deleted my Facebook. More for mental health reasons than anything else, right? Because I feel like I was over on Facebook I just find was too much negative news. It had a lot of suicide news and all sorts of things happening. And I don't want to be on any platform for the other platforms that makes me feel pressured to always show up.
Yeah, it's the pressure to always show up, to always be on, and
to always create.
I had to also get to that point too, where I used to feel like I had to post every day or every 2 days, or if a week passed, something is wrong. And at some point, you get to a point where it's like, I need to give myself grace.
Grace, yeah.
Now, this is not to be something to paint with one broad stroke, because what would work for you won't work for me.
Yeah, definitely.
What will work for me won't work for you, and vice versa. And what may work for us may not work for you as well, the viewers who are tuning in. Because as a new business owner, when you start something new, you start a new career, you now come into the world, you have to pay your dues. So we might get away with not posting, but you have to find a strategy
or
system that works for you.
Mm.
So even if you're new, come into it knowing what are my non-negotiables? What capacity do I have? And build your strategy or your business strategy, your marketing strategy around what you feel like you could personally maintain. I think it's really important to come into social media with a plan to know what can I sustain, instead of figuring out or asking questions like, what time should I post? Was it best time to post? And what are all these rules? No, you have to get in there and know what works for your business, but before you even do that, you need to know what your non-negotiables are.
Oh yeah, and have some kind of goal for it. Because why are you showing up on social media in the first place? Because if you're just showing up because okay, the guru said that you should show up, then that's the wrong reason to show up, right? Because
Yeah,
my business is not dependent on social media.
right.
Thank God.
Yeah,
So I always tell people if I show up or I don't show up, it doesn't affect
doesn't
me.
affect you.
Thank God again. Not
Yeah,
right, knock on wood. But you might have a business that you would need to create. It might not be constantly, but you need to be a little active in order to get those sales or have it convert back to where it's beneficial to your business. So you have to know, like, what
yeah.
are you using? Social media is a tool.
It is a tool, and I
Yeah.
don't think sometimes we see it as a tool. Or sometimes we see it as a tool, but as you said, the guru said I must use social media.
Yeah.
Because I actually met a business owner in Starbucks recently, and he showed me that, look, I have all this, I do this work and I do that work, and very high profile work, I must say. And I was sitting there wondering, well, why do you feel like you need to build your social media page more? I mean, of course, there's always room for improvement, but who told you if you already have business, you're booked out, why do you feel you even need to be on social media beyond showcasing the work that you've done, which you currently have here? Maybe your page might need some sprucing up, some streamlining to, just look more appealing. But outside of that, I think you have something that works. And if you have something that works, again, why do we feel we need to do something different?
Yeah, it's all up to what your goal is. I mean, if you're doing great without using social media to constantly sell, then you could just probably use it to constantly share,
Yes.
or you could just use it to showcase
Right.
work.
And that's what he had. He had a showcase of all the work that he's done, worked on some really impressive events. And it's like you say, working quietly behind the scenes.
Yeah. And say, I work in real life. So sometimes to always stop, even if I'm on a job, like to remember to put up my phone or to remember to create the content or to remember to capture. I remember that when I get home after the entire job. So sometimes it's hard, especially for creatives, to
It is hard.
constantly,
It is hard. I struggle with that.
unless now where we hire somebody to go with us and
Somebody to, yeah. That's the cheat code right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Because as much as I might be good with this stuff, once I'm outside of a controlled environment, it is hard for me to balance the two. I rather be present.
I just want to be present. Not
rather be
rather, I
present.
just want to be present. Like I just want to be present. I just want to get my job done and then go home.
I want to bring a sobering message about social media. I feel like it's not real.
Which is, how is that a sobering message?
Because
That's a fact.
so it is a fact, but it's a sobering message. It's a fact that the message needs to be conveyed, because a lot of us feel like this person is presenting this way. They must really be like that in
Must
real
be
life.
like that in real life.
Or not they must be like that, or how they project life to be, or their business to be, or just anything.
Just anything. And I think that we forget that what we see on social media is personas. Like this. We take that for, well, let me not say we, because I say this all the time, Cassie, and you know it. I am not easily impressed.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
I say it all the time. It's get me in trouble. I mean, it's probably make me a little black sheep. I'm a rebel, but I'm not easily impressed. So why there might be some things that people will literally be throwing themselves on the floor for, I'll just be like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like, really?
No, this is the real tea. This is the real
yeah.
tea.
I'd be like, I mean, it's tea time.
It is.
And you did say we unpacking.
We are. I'm just confirming that just exactly what you're getting here right now. Don't mind me talking about those who present something like this is the real deal.
Yeah.
It is authentic, and not everybody is being authentic like that.
Yeah.
So just be careful.
Yeah,
That's the
but
message.
There are persons online that show up as their authentic selves, they're real, they're raw, etc. And then there are persons who say they're showing up as their real authentic selves and say they're real and they're raw. It's something different, right? Anybody, a video, I know it went viral sometime. I saw it on TikTok. Creator, she was saying, I just came off from work. I know I'm going to get my, my Starbucks.
Oh, yes, I shared that video.
And then she was like, and at the end, she was like, you see what I did there? I just lied. I don't work anyway. She's like, so people could come
And I
on here
love
and say
how
whatever.
it shifted what she was doing just at the 15-minute mark, because if you didn't click to watch the video, you would not have seen how she switched characters to be like, you see how I just lied?
Yeah, you see how I just lied? Because she was like, guys, I just finished my day. I'm going to get my Starbucks. And she was like, you see how I just lied? And I was like, this is so many persons. And I feel like that was the message that needed to be shared. Because people could literally
I will have
come
to
on and say
link that
anything.
video in the show notes, because I think it's something that everybody needs to watch.
Yeah, like we don't always. I don't know. I just,
Take a moment.
this is a
Alright.
topic where you have to be very careful too. It's almost as walking on eggshells because you don't want to, offend anybody. But I really think that we need to be more mindful.
Mindful, yes,
Yeah.
that's the word.
We need to be more mindful. We need to also come on, guys, due diligence.
Due diligence, yeah. And I think that's the message I was getting at, which is it's not about crucifying anybody. It's really about a lesson to you, the viewer, to be like, just take everything with a grain of salt.
Definitely.
We don't really know what the real story is on the inside. So it's okay to enjoy things. It's okay to enjoy people. It's okay to enjoy their content, their personality, but always just be mindful that you don't really know what's happening.
What's happening? I feel like, and this happens a lot with
So maybe it's
persons-
more conscious consumption.
conscious consumption.
Yeah.
Okay, when we see anybody post their bank account or a payment receipt, we run in and giving them
People
money.
love that. They're just simple key things, certain key things that we know that people enjoy, that just really gets them excited on social media. We love to see our receipts.
A receipt, because we think that, well, no problem. If she got this amount in sales, all I need to do is pay
But
her.
that doesn't tell the whole story.
How long did you take to get those sales?
Yeah.
Is that receipt even real? Is that receipt for this
How
month?
much is profit?
How much is profit?
Nobody
How
talks
much is
about
loss?
expenses, taxes, the boring things we don't want to hear about. We don't want to hear about that. Nobody, does behind the scenes showing you, I'm going to pay my taxes. This is how much my taxes were. I'm going to see my accountant.
Yeah.
So
I would just say, with social media, just be mindful and just, really be strong in your own mindset and what you want to absorb, to make sure and you filter out or be able to discern. Praying for discernment is so key, because you could align with a lot of spirits and energies that just wasn't meant for
energy
you.
is a serious thing.
Serious thing. Serious thing. I was tell people, if I feel some type of way, then it's not happening.
Trust your intuition.
I trust it. Yeah,
Trust
I really
your gut.
trust my intuition, and I pray a lot for discernment too.
Yeah, it's important to pray for discernment, not just on social media, but with interacting with other entrepreneurs. Don't be like me, who had to burn to learn. Many stories, but we wouldn't go there today. We wouldn't go there today.
Yeah, we won't go there today, but I'm
the
sure
point is,
everybody have those stories.
Everybody has those stories, but have discernment not just with social media, but with the people you align with,
Definitely.
the people who you do business with, the clients that you take on.
Oh,
Because
Lord.
not all money is good money. It's
Listen
not
to
worth
me.
the headache, right? You might have a month where you need to pay some bills. It's very tempting. Still have your guidelines as to what is a green flag. Like, okay, I could work with you, and what are those red flags?
Red
And
flags,
if you are seeing red flags in a potential client, trust your
Trust
intuition.
your intuition. Listen, don't eat off of every plate, because that's how we get poisoned. We can't just go around eating from everything. We want every dollar. Every dollar is not meant to be yours. I really feel like, but it comes with entrepreneurship too, Cassia. with us thinking that no, we need the money because we have to pay a bill, we have kids, we have, you know.
Or we want to hit this particular income goal this month. We're so close.
And this target, yeah, we're so close, and maybe this, but that is when the devil does send.
Yeah,
I always tell
it's
people,
true.
like, yes, God does send opportunities, but the devil does send opportunities too. God will send some clients and some destiny helpers, but the devil will also send some people too.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to
You have to
discern
do your
and
due
know.
diligence.
Yeah, we have to.
Some people will come and say, yeah, I'm going to help you do X, Y, and Z. And they didn't come to help you. They came to spy on your business.
Listen,
They want to know your procedures. They want to know your suppliers.
the suppliers, yeah, and then they start a business just like yours.
Let's not even talk about those that come pretending to be clients. But yeah,
Oh gosh,
we will
that's podcast episode.
we'll just leave that one there.
Season 3, episode 1.
We'll leave
next
that
year.
food for thought.
Yeah.
I think you could like fill the gaps there. Okay, so as we head into 2025 and, you know, circling back to having a vision, I know you're a huge vision board type of person. You would have hosted vision board planning events back in the day. So my question is, what grounds you? Where does your vision come from?
No secret. I really think that my faith and my prayer life is one of the main keys in just, you know, keeping me really, really grounded. And also just, you know, that value too of wanting to be who I say I am. Like I don't ever want to show up as somebody and it's different to what I say, you know? So I want the two to align. But God really keeps me grounded, and I love being able to really see things. I like to visualize. I'm a visual person. If I can't see it, then I don't feel like it could really happen.
Yeah.
You know, I like to visualize things, and that's where my vision board, like love for vision boarding came since I was 10. You know, you're sticking up
Really?
these pictures. Yeah, I would stick these pictures on my
Because I was now
wall.
about to ask you, how did you get into vision boarding? Where did you learn about it? Because that was something I didn't learn until my early adult life, like early 20s.
Like at 10, we didn't know it was vision boarding, but now as we get older and we look back, right? Because my aunt was like, when she saw like me do my first vision board, she's like, I can't believe you still sticking up these pictures. And I was like, what you mean? And she had to tell me, she's like, when you
You're
was
doing this since
younger,
then.
yeah, your whole wall used to be photos, you know, you like you was in love with Ja Rule, so it had this photo of Ja Rule all the time, and then you'd always like cut out these words or quotes, and it would have them there, and I was like, serious?
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I was like,
I didn't know anything
serious?
about that. I didn't. What I had up on my wall was like everybody else. You had your Showtime posters.
Oh, I love a Showtime. If you don't
Yes,
get middle page,
that middle page. If you don't know about that, you're too young.
you're too young.
Too-
Yeah, you're too young to be listening to Tea Time.
Now, you're not too young to be listening because you're getting valuable advice for the young entrepreneur.
True.
You're just
True.
too young to know about that.
Yeah, you're too young to know about that.
But
But
yeah, I got into it in my early 20s. I was watching a life coach on, back then we had no Facebook. It was Ustream. We had Facebook, but Facebook didn't have the live feature yet.
okay.
So you used to have to tune into this separate platform to watch people do live videos and webinars and stuff. And that's when I made my first vision board, have the quotes. I actually remember, well, now I have online banking. And I always knew I wanted an online business. So I remember having clothes on the thing. I had like an online banking, you know, I was like, I'm going to start this business. Vision boards are really, really good to have.
Yeah, just being able to really communicate or see what
A
you want,
visual.
yeah, of what you want to accomplish, and it's something for you. It's not something for for anybody else. It will really help you.
I didn't have that visual like exercise, but I would have had like a journal. So I would journal back then, diaries, dear diary. I was into that.
Yeah.
So I would have written like all the things I see myself doing as an adult. So I would write it down.
And that is a way to visualize, because like when I do vision boards, I like to mix it. So I always tell people, like, although we're putting the pictures here, I give them sticky notes. because you have to
Okay.
write. I don't want you to write a quote or write a affirmation. No, I want you to write
To describe the
to
vision.
describe the vision. I want you to probably, okay, if that's the vision that you have, what you think is the next 3 actionable steps that would probably get you started towards that vision. You know?
Okay.
So we kind of start like that, and we're not just sticking pretty
That's a
pictures
good tip. What are those next 3 steps to make this happen?
to
I
make
like
this
that.
happen. Yeah. So I like to include that all the time.
So, on that note, are there any projects or goals you're especially excited for in the next year? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to like leave a little breadcrumb?
I feel in 2025, everything that I have shelved, I'm taking it off the shelf in 2025. Like, committing my plans to the Lord, of course, but I'm taking it off the shelf. We spoke about it earlier, like things we're passionate about.
Our
but
own
Our
creations.
own creations. Like, so look out for that. Like, I'm
Okay.
excited to bring back a Avalon creation.
Avalon creation.
An
All right.
Avalon creation.
All right, but only remember that. Look out for what's
Yeah.
coming.
An Avalon creation in reverse.
I like it. Well, there are some clues. If you all could piece those clues together, Avalon in reverse, I will leave it there.
But what about you?
What about me? I like to take that last month of the year to reflect,
Yeah.
right? By the time this airs, I'm in reflection mode. I feel like there's something about that, those last few weeks in December, where the world kind of gets quiet after the
Yeah.
hustle and the bustle of Christmas. I mean, I start reflecting from now, which is November. We're currently in November at the time of the recording, and I start thinking about it. I start reflecting. I start just dreaming and imagining things. And I feel like I am led a lot internally, intuitively. I feel things. Well, I'm a Cancer, so I don't know if it's the same for you as a Cancer.
We are cancers.
But I just feel my way through my emotions.
Yeah.
That might be good, it could be bad, but something when I feel it, I know. And it does go hand in hand with some practical thinking and tactics, but it must feel right. And that's what I'm currently, planning and researching, because research is important.
Important, yeah.
I know what some of my desires are, and it just seemed like, how feasible is it? Which direction should I go to execute this thing? And another thing I love to have to kind of be a guiding light as I go forward in the year is have a word for the year.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I might not have, what do they usually call it? Affirmations. There's something else. I might not have a vision board some years, but I will have a theme.
Yeah.
I'll have a word
You'll have
of
a
the year.
word, your word of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like to just sit and let it come to me what that is. It's not something I could sit and think and strategize. My word of the year should be this. That feels too masculine to me.
Yeah. And you know,
It
there
should
are
just
some people that does it like that.
and come to me. Well, what works for you?
Because in life, I feel like, and this is another thing I think that anybody listening should really learn and understand. Despite popular belief, everything doesn't have to be a strategy. Everything doesn't have to be a strategy.
Yeah, you say that all the time, so I'm glad the listeners get to hear that as well.
Yeah, it don't have to have a strategy aligned to it. Some things should just be genuine, especially things like connection, things like, where you are led. It don't always have to be a strategy. Like,
sometimes you have to follow an intuition, a hunch, and be like, I want to create this, and I don't know where it's going to take me.
I don't know.
But it's going to take you somewhere. It's going to open
somewhere.
some doors to something. You just don't know what it is yet. And sometimes I know I'm that type of creative where I feel called, I feel led, I'm doing this.
Yeah. Just enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey.
Instead of focusing on, okay, where is this going to take me? What is the destination? Enjoy where you at. Enjoy the now. Enjoy the process. I feel like we don't enjoy the process enough.
It's a form of creation. Sometimes you just have to create. So creating is it's an art. It can't always be a strategy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already in 2025 because I've literally slowed down everything that's happening this year to kind of focus on putting things in place, not counting my eggs before they hatch, but I
Right.
just want to be more intentional about living and about creating. I just want to be more intentional about that.
As a next word, I want you all to grab intention.
Yeah.
Right? It may not be about having a strategy, but doing things with intention.
With intention.
Right? So you can follow a hunch, follow an intuition, but whatever you're doing, do it with intention.
With intention.
Do it with intention, do it with purpose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you again for joining me on this episode. And I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in and taking the time to unpack the year with me and my guest, Avalon Gomez, in this year-end special edition of Tea Time. Catch you on the next one.
Bye.